Liberal elite staple New York Magazine is ginning up fear about Trump's overhaul of our corrupt federal government. Fretting the most over Trump's pick for the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy Jr. New York Magazine again asserts that Kennedy is an anti-vaxxer. They accuse Kennedy of plotting to eliminate funding for the CDC's children's vaccine program. They accuse him of wanting to fire career staffers and researchers and this absurd idea that we might put an end to puberty blockers. Now, this is their calculation and speculation, but these things aren't bad reforms at all. In fact, most Americans would be joyous to see that these programs were put an end to. The American people voted for America to be made healthy and sane again. What these bureaucrats have done are poisoning our citizens, confusing our children. So why are the liberal elites so desperate to take down RFK Jr., who just a few years ago they were singing his praises? Joining us is Dr. Peter McCullough, the Chief Scientific Officer for the Wellness Company, one of our sponsors. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Where does this intense fear about RFK Jr. come from?
We've seen under the last two HHS secretaries, Alex Azar, who's a former drug company CEO, who was installed under Obama, carried through under Trump, and now Xavier Becerra, who's a career politician. Both are lawyers by training. We've seen under their tenure corruption sweep into the agencies. HHS, Health and Human Services, has well over a dozen reporting sub-agencies. And we learned through the pandemic the depth of this corruption. Now enter Robert F. Kennedy, who says, listen, he is going to be evidence-based. He's going to be, egalitarian, going to bring experts into Washington to carefully review information, develop a framework around issues, consensus, and then drive policy. This scares stakeholders like big pharmaceutical companies and interest groups tremendously in terms of bringing back what Americans deserve in Washington, and that is good, solid leadership from HHS.
How effective will big food lobbyists be in their pushback against RFK Jr.? They have a lot at stake. RFK Jr. is calling for banning certain chemicals that they use to preserve our foods. RFK Jr. is bringing attention and bringing national conversations around things that big food does not want to be talking about. They have a pretty big lobby, I assume. How effective do you think they will be?
They do. You've heard of big pharma. They call it big food. And, some of these are giant multinational companies. Now, Robert F. Kennedy is focused on what's called trans fats. These are super saturated fats like partially hydrogenated soybean oil and other seed oils. They are now out of most fast food chains because they're so dangerous. McDonald's has already pulled it off. When this was done in New York City under Mayor Bloomberg, heart attack rates dropped in New York City. That's how potent a public health intervention is, like removing trans fats from the food supply. But trans fats are in granola bars, cookies, microwave popcorn, frozen pizza. The store shelves are loaded with products with trans fats. They would have to be re-engineered to become healthier. And I think this is likely going to happen. The American Heart Association in 2009 has a resolution. They want this to happen. WHO agrees. The FDA has been slow walking this. Now's the time, under the direction of HHS, to really drive this home, get trans fats off the shelves.
Yeah, RFK Jr. is one of the few, national level politicians who clearly does not get his money from big pharma or big ag, which explains why he has the courage to stand up and say, look, this is not the route, this is not the path for a healthy America.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.